or else do not start.
Give me an example from real world perspective. What are the decision making statements?
Marks. We can take as marks.
Right. Okay. Okay. So what is the decision making here for marks?
If the percentage is greater than 90, then it will print A. If else,
That is, so the grade computation. What you are talking about is the
grade
grade
computation.
computation, right?
Yes, sir.
So in the physical world, are we making decisions in the
Yes,
real
sir.
world? Right, Prashant? Do we make the decisions in the real world?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So we make the decisions, right? So whether you want to study engineering or not study engineering, or you want to go to college or not to go to college, eat or you don't want to eat outside. These are all the decisions that we make in the real world. Right? So in the information world, so these are all decision making is essential required because all the information is being used for decision making purposes. Okay. So what are all the decision making statements? You have if. So one is if then else condition. And if you have so many if then else condition, then instead of if then else, you use the switch. Switch is nothing but if then else only.
Nested if.
Right? So what is the purpose of a loop?
Same action to be performed number of times.
Okay, give me an example.
Copy and paste.
So Chandu, you are asking, give me the theory notes based on scenario based notes. Kindly I'm request, sir. I didn't understand, sir. So Chandu, you cannot talk. Who is Chandu here? Chandu, why you are not talking at all and putting a message?
I'm outside, sir.
Huh?
Sir, I'm outside. That's why disturbance.
So outside means what? You are working somewhere or what?
Yes, sir, I'm working.
Huh?
I'm working, sir. That's why.
Okay. Do you work? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is it that you didn't understand? But are you following the classes for last 1 week?
Yes, sir. But some concepts are not understanding, sir. That's why I'm asking the notes, sir.
Okay. Which concept did you know? See, there are so many concepts we have covered.
And like is variables and
Huh?
method. Sir, variables. 3 types of variables.
So
Local.
I have actually given the source code for everything. Have you gone through the source code?
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
See, if you've gone through the code, you will understand, right? Then otherwise, how will you learn the stuff? Are you practicing it?
No,
Hmm?
no, sir.
See, one thing I just wanted to repeat it again. So by listening concepts, software, you will not know software. You can, if you learn it for even for 10 years, you keep hearing, you will not know. I can guarantee you that. Okay. So the only way you will learn it by practice, 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 practice. How many of you are seriously actually practicing, opening your computer, writing the programs? Tell me. Are you doing that at all? So Kavya, I can see. Uday, are you doing it? Are you writing the programs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Naveen, are you writing the programs? See, just by listening, I can guarantee you will not learn at all. So that is the reason I'm actually giving source code for everything. I've shared the source code, open the program, and I'm giving you exercises. You need to write and practice those exercises. Then, if you have a questions, I can clarify. But by listening a theory, it is not of much use. For every theory, every concept, there is a program is given, sample programs are given. You have to write the similar kind of program, practice it, then you will learn it. Okay. All right. So, what is the purpose of loops? We are on the topic of loops. Prashant, what is the purpose of
Xerox
loop?
machine. Xerox machine example.
Sorry?
Xerox machine printing number of same copies.
Okay, so Xerox machine is okay, repeating. That is one of the tasks, right? Fundamentally correct. So, okay. Okay, that is on the one of the physical world. That is one of the repeated tasks. What are the other repeated tasks? What are the other repeated tasks in the physical world? How does your dresses or toys or fans or everything, electronics, they all get manufactured? How do they get produced? Hmm? So you buy the dresses, pants, shirts, and all, right? Fans. You look at the fans, your mobile phone,
Robotics.
Printing machines.
printing machine.
Robotic machine.
Yeah, whatever is the robotic machine. So what exactly is happening there? The lakhs of dresses are being manufactured, lakhs of
Continuously
millions of mobile
working.
phones are being produced. They're all repeated tasks, boss. So in the physical world, any manufacturing activity is nothing but it's a repeated task. How is a car being manufactured? It's a repeated task. Engine is taken, body is taken, tires are taken, wheels are taken, they're all joined together, and then car is produced, then go to the same task, repeat again for next car, next car, next car, next car. So those are all the repeated tasks in the physical world. Right? So now what kind of repeated tasks are happening in the software world? Can you give me some examples? What are the repeated tasks that are happening in the software world?
Buying products from online.
Okay, buying products. Okay. So that's a repeated activity, right?
Yeah. Transferring monies using UPIs.
Okay. Right. For example, your marks, right? So all of you, so in a university, lakhs of people are writing the marks and all your marks are being computed, and grade computation is one repeated activity, right? So there are lakhs of people, it takes the marks, compute the grade of student 1, go to the student 2, student 3, student 4. Similarly, your MSET marks, right? So all the marks are taken and the ranks are computed based on the ranks of this thing. These are all the repeated tasks, right? So the repeated tasks, the software, the technology that we can use is called for loop, while loop, and do loop. So what's the difference between for loop, do while, and while do? Hmm? For is fixed number of iterations. Okay. For is fixed number of iteration. You want to iterate for 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, that's called for loop. And do while and while do are conditional based on particular condition. So they iterate. So that's the difference between for loop and do while and while do. Okay. So what is the purpose of continue and break? So in the loop, if a break statement comes, it exits the loop. If a break statement comes in the loop, it exits the loop. Right? If a continue statement there in the loop, then it skips that particular iteration, goes to the beginning of the next iteration. That is called the continue. Okay? Right? Now let's look at the code with couple of programs, then you will probably understand easily what are these loops and all. Okay, so there is a program called customer loyalty. Have you heard of this loyalty? What is the meaning of loyalty? Hmm? If you go to the same shop, repeatedly do the shopping, so then you are a loyal customer of that shop. That is what is the meaning of loyalty. So let's say you have been purchasing from the same shop repeatedly over a period of years together, months together, then you are called as a loyal customer. Right? So for example, Swiggy or Zomato, they offer based on some discounts to your loyalty. Okay. So this is just a sample program where, okay, this is the, you can forget about this. This is to read the input. When we go to the files, we will talk about this. So this basically is to read the input from the user, and this is the output statements, and you enter how much you purchased, right? Assume that you purchased for, say, 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. Then if your total purchase amount, this is where the decision making. So you want to find out what kind of loyalty you have. If your total purchase is greater than 1,000, then you are called as a gold customer. If it is greater than 500, you are called as a silver customer. And if less than 500, then you are called as a bronze customer. So you want to divide the customers based on their total purchase amount, then that is the logic you can write here. Okay. So in this simple program, that's what we written. So read the total purchase amount of a customer and determine whether this customer is gold customer or silver customer or bronze customer. Okay. So that is what you see the if then else condition here. You understand the syntax here? So what is the syntax here? If is a keyword, and this is called total purchase amount greater than, this is called the conditional expression. This is called conditional expression. What is the conditional expression here? If the total purchase greater than or equal to 1,000. So this is called conditional expression. Right? So this is called the if statement. If this is true, then this statement will be executed. So all these decision making statement, they return either true condition or false condition. If it is true, then program enters this loop. If it is false, then it goes to the here. If this condition is false, let's say if it is total purchase is 500, then this condition is false, right? So it will not enter here. Then it will go here. So then if it is 500, this condition is true, then it enters this condition here. Let's say if the total purchase amount is 300, then this statement fails. Then this also fails. Then it comes here. The loyalty status is branch. So similar to what Kavya is talking about. How do you compute the grades, mark grades, right? So if your total percentage is greater than 90%, then you say that is grade A. If it is between 80% and 90%, grade B. 70% and 80%, grade C. So like this, you have to write your if then else condition for the grade computation. So any questions on this? The if then else? Prashant, Suresh, Rekha.
No, sir.
Okay, understood?
Okay, sir. Understood.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then output of this is, you want to know what kind of a customer is this? That loyalty is being printed here. Okay. Then based on the loyalty, you want to offer the discounts. That is the logic here. If it is a gold customer, give 10% discount. If it is, so this is called the switch statement. Switch statement is similar to if then else. But it is easy to understand because if we have to write the same thing in if then else, what happens? If loyalty status equal to gold, else if loyalty status equal to silver, like this, if then else you have to write it 3-4 times. So instead of that, you can use the switch statement. If you have more than, so the tip is if you have 1 or 2 conditions, use if. If you have 3 or 4 conditions, more than 2 or 3, then go for switch. Understood? So now we wanted to say, see if it is a gold customer, then offer 10% discount, silver 5%, bronze some special promotions. If none of them it matches, then no specific benefits. Right? So that is what is the, so that is what is we want to do. Here you want to find out what kind of customer, and based on that customer, you want to offer the discount. That is the logic here. Using the switch statement. So we have seen if then else, we have seen the switch. Right? So now let's look at the if then else, if conditions. Okay. So this is called the for statement. What is the format of for? A for statement contains 3 values. This is called the initial value. That is called initial value. The second is called the condition. That is, third is called the increment. So in the loop, you want to start with 1, right? And then process this with the 1. Then next loop, I becomes 2, I plus plus. Then process this with 2. Continue this until I less than or equal to 5. The moment I becomes 6, it exits this loop. The for statement contains 3 expressions. These are all called 3 different statements. One is the initial value of loop. This is called the loop variable. That I is called loop variable. And this is called loop condition, loop variable condition. How long the loop should run. And this is loop increment. Okay. So this is the for loop. Okay. Right. So you want to understand continue, right? We were discussed about continue. For example, in this loop, if I loop variable I equal to 2 continue, what does it mean? Then it will not print here. It will not come here. It will go back to the beginning of the loop. go back to the beginning of the loop. Okay, so that is the purpose of continue. If I loop variable I equal to 2, then it enters here, then it executes the statement called continue. When it encounters continue, then it will not come here. The statement go back to the I equal to 3, comes here, then it prints here. Okay, so that is the purpose of continue. Right? So, how many of you understood this? So, in this program, your if condition is there, switch is there, loop is there, continue is there. Kavya, did you understand everything?
Yes, sir.
Prashant, have you done any programming besides Java, C++ or C?
No, sir.
You never done programming.
No, sir.
Is it? What is your background?
Engineering, sir, but long back I completed that.
Okay.
In
All
college
right.
days, I have done, but it is more than 5 years.
No, that is okay. But at least, did you remember some of these concepts?
Yes. I do remember concepts,
Okay.
but implementation of coding, there I goes
Okay,
little
that's
down.
fine. So, but at least you understand the concept, right? Why switch,
Yes.
why if condition,
Yes.
why loops and all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Uday, did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, can somebody summarize if condition, switch condition, loops and all? What's the difference between if and loop, if and switch?
Yeah, if more than one or conditions come into existence, we use switch rather than if.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, then
And if condition checks for the condition, if condition becomes true, it enters into the instructions. If
Right.
condition fails, it goes to else block.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, then okay. And the for statement?
Yeah, for statement, use it for repeating same iterations.
Right.
For set of
For statement, what are the three
one is
for? How do we
one
write
is,
the for? What are all the three things required for loop?
one is loop variable.
Right.
The second one is conditional variable, and the
Okay.
third one is incrementation variable.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. So how does the for loop gets executed? What is the order of this execution of the for loop?
It checks for that condition variable.
No. What is the order of this execution? For example, this for loop, if you look at it here, right? So in this for loop, can you tell me what is the order of this execution?
If I value is 1, it enters into the loop.
Okay,
And
so I is equal to
until-
it. So it takes I equal to 1, then enters this code.
Yes, and
Right.
until I is less than or equal to 5. If
Until
it
so
I reaches
basically,
to 6,
so
it exits
this
the
loop is executed with I equal to 1, it executes. I equal to 2, it executes. 3,
4,
4, 5. How many times this loop is executed?
5 times.
5 times loop is executed. Right? Okay. So okay, then we have a break statement. We discussed about continue previously, right?
Yes.
Okay, so where was so here we have continue. So here we have break. Right? So what is the break? If the total purchase amount is greater than 100 times, let's say if it is 1, 100 into 1 is, it's greater than 100, then it enters the loop. If the purchase amount is less than 100, then what happens?
It exits the loop.
It exits the loop. That is called the break. Okay. So what is the difference between break and continue?
Break, if a break statement occurs, it exits the loop. If a continuous
So
statement
break
occurs,
statement exits the loop, totally exits. Let's say if the first iteration itself, the condition is not met, then it
it
exits.
exits the loop.
Whereas the continue, out of the
It
5
goes for the
iterations,
next iteration.
it will probably skip that particular iteration.
It
Continue
goes for
will,
next iteration.
exactly, it will go to. So that is the difference between break and continue. And how many times for loop is executed? Depends on, if you look at this, then you can
Condition.
see it will execute 5 times. Okay. And this loop, how many times it executes?
2 times. Second, it
3
will
times.
skip.
1, 2, 3. 3 times it executes. Right? So 1, because I less than or equal to 3, it executes for 1, 2, 3. Right? So this loop is executed for 3 times. And this is, if the total purchase amount is less than 100, then in the first iteration itself, it comes out of the loop. Okay. So for loops switch, if you look at it, okay, can somebody explain this switch statement?
Switch statement, we call it as nested if.
Nested if, right? Okay. So what happens if the loyalty status is gold? What happens here?
It executes line number 31 and gives a 10% discount.
Gives and then it breaks.
Yeah.
And then it comes out of it. Right? So it executes this and then comes out of this switch. So only one of the statements will be executed. Right?
Yes.
So with gold, it will execute this. Silver, then this statement is executed.
Every
Bronze.
statement execute and print, sir. It will
Sorry?
break. Every statement execute and it break, and another statement will print, sir.
Can
One
you please
statement
repeat again?
prints,
Uday?
one statement prints and breaks, and one statement prints another breaks, sir.
Exactly. So it's only one of these 4 will be executed. Depends on the loyal status condition. If it is not matching with any of the 3, the default will be this statement will be executed. And this printout will be there. Okay. So
Okay.
now let's go to the if then else, do while and while do conditions. Let's look at that example. The same code we are written with the do while and while do. Okay, there is one difference between do while and while do. Can somebody tell me? Whoever knows the Java programming, they should be able to tell. What's the one
While
difference?
statement first executes the condition,
Okay.
then performs the action. In
Okay.
do while, first it performs the action and check for the condition.
So what exactly is the one difference between these two?
Do while runs one more extra time than while do.
Do while executes at least one time. What's the difference between do while and while do? Do while executes at least one time. Why is that? Because
Condition is the last time.
yeah, the condition is there in the last, right? Because the condition is there in the last. So this condition is there in the end. So that's why the code up to here gets executed at least once. So whereas if you look at the other one, while do. So this is do while. Okay, that is do while. right? For example, if you look at it, this is called while do. So this, it will enter only if the total purchase amount is greater than 100. Otherwise, these 62 and 63 will not get executed at all. Okay. So the difference between do while and while do is do while gets executed at least one time. The statements in the loop gets executed at least one time in do while. In case of a while do, they may not be. So they may not enter the loop statement at all. That is the difference between while do and do while. Okay. So what is the syntax here? So it starts with do, then the loop statement, right? Then, so you write all the code here. So here reading the value from the total purchase from the user. Then if it is purchase amount less than 0, then it is asking the user to enter the valid purchase amount. If it enters the negative value, so it's asking to enter the positive value, right? If it is -1, breaking the loop, right? Then it computing the loyalty status. Where the total is greater than 1000, it's gold, greater than 500 silver, otherwise branch. Then if it is gold, gives 10% discount, silver 5%, right? So that is what is the do while and while do. Okay. So the Rekha, did you understand the do while and while do? What are all required? So who is that? Okay. Kavya, did you understand do while and while do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me the difference and between these two?
Do while will execute at least one time, sir.
Okay.
And while do, if it may enters or may not be enters, the loop statement depends on the condition, sir.
Okay. So where do we write the condition for do while and while do?
Do while will start with the do, and then it will in that do we have a loop statement, sir. At the
Okay.
end, it has the condition while condition.
Okay.
And while do, first it will have the condition,
Okay.
then it has do, sir. In
Okay.
while condition we have loop.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So today's sessions, any questions before we move on to the quiz, online quiz? So today, what all we covered? We have summarized all the different concepts, right? So then we've looked at the loops. So conditional decision making statement, if, then switch, then the loops, for loop, do while, do, continue and break. What is the difference between continue and break? Can somebody tell me? Uday?
Break is the loops comes execute the statements.
No, your voice is not audible, Uday.
Break is loops comes break execute the statements, sir.
No, I think your audio is not clear at all. Chandu, can you tell me what is the difference between continue and break?
Break is loops comes execute the statements, sir.
Okay, so if it is continue, then what happens? When the statement continue is encountered, what happens?
Sir, if continue the statement, if the statement is true, it will continue. If statement is it's wrong, it automatically breaks the statement, sir.
See, when the program flow encounters continue, What does it do?
Continue statement only stops the current iteration, sir.
Exactly. Continue statement will stop the current iteration at that particular point of time. Correct. Okay. What about the break, Divyashree?
Sir, break statement, it stops the entire loop, sir, like entire process, sir.
Correct. It breaks the loop. Break statement breaks the loop and come out of the entire loop. So that is the difference between break and continue. Okay. Right. So any other questions on any other topics today before we move on to the online quiz? Okay, so let's start the quiz. Okay, so today's quiz is this.